Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. My name is Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf. I would ask you this time if you would please stand or at least put your hand over your heart for the playing of the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, folks. And now for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by John Wayne.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Things are better left unknown, and I'll never find you here, 'cause no one's ever find my way in this world that never stays. What a widow, a peaceful spider. When the glass is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. What a sinner, is it in her? Is this real? Just illusion? I'm lost in the wonderland of confusion. I'm lost in the wonderland of confusion. Is this real or just illusion? Manifestation or a dark delusion? Is this real or just illusion? I'm lost in a wonderland of confusion. I'm lost in a wonderland of confusion.
Ripon Rabbit Hole is a community-driven radio. At times the community comments may reveal prejudices and other beliefs that we or our sponsors do not condone. Views or opinions expressed by the community, callers, or guests, are those of the individual speaking and do not represent the views or opinions of this site. Ripon Common Sense content is intended for mature audiences only. Enjoy.
Coming to you from a secret cave, hidden deep within the wilderness. This is the Dark Wolf's Den Show. Now, here is your host, Jerry Hicks.
That's right, I am Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf, and we are broadcasting live from a secret cave hidden deep within the wilderness of Tennessee. That's right. We're ripping through the electromagnetic soup. We're tearing through the atmosphere, and we're tunneling away into your radio like a quantum particle. This is the Dark Wolf's Den radio show for Wednesday, January the 5th, 2021. So whether you're on the edge of a reality, the edge of the galaxy, or the edge of your seat, we're glad you chose us to be right there with you. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are going to return to our State of Mystery series once again with the great state of Montana. That's right, a whole lot of paranormal and very little time to get there. We're going to dive deep down that rabbit hole here in just a moment, but first, let's go ahead and see who all we have over here in both the Dark Wolf's Den Show as well as the Ripon Rabbit Hole chat rooms. What's going on tonight, guys? Sandy B over in the Dark Wolf's Den Show chat room says, Happy Holidays, DWD people. Happy Holidays, Sandy B. I hope you had an amazing holiday season. I know we did over here in the den. JoJo's waving in says, I know this state a little better than I wish to. Well, let's see if we can't get to know it even better than that. JoJo's with the dancing folks over there hanging out, dancing and grooving to the music. Prairie Fire over in the Ripon Rabbit Hole chat is the first one that I see. If there was somebody before that, I do apologize. Prairie Fire says, looking forward to this one. Looking forward to this indeed. We both are, Prairie. Glad to have you back here. Sandy B hanging out also in the Ripon Rabbit Hole says, hi, JoJo's. Hi, Sandy B. I'm sure JoJo's see you saying over there. JoJo's also jumping over in the Ripon Rabbit Hole chat. Not many people over in the Dark Wolf's Den Show, guys. If you want to hop on over there also, we don't have many people. If you're looking for something to watch while you're listening on the radio, guys, feel free to jump on over here in our YouTube chat rooms. Radio Raider Champion, my fault, Raider, says, hey Raider, glad to see you. This is John Wayne, absolutely John Wayne, the Duke. JJ says, hey Jerry, hey JJ, fist bump to you, my friend, good to see you. Earth Daughter says, hi everyone, hi Earth Daughter, a pleasure to have you here. I'm glad to see both new and old friends in the room. Errol Taylor checking in. Glad to see you. Errol says, hey, Jerry, a.k.a. The Dark Wolf. Hey, Errol. A pleasure to see every last one of you guys. Man, Danny Mall coming in there at the end. And Terry Taggart rounding it out there. Quite a few of you guys hanging out in the chat tonight. It is so awesome to see all of you guys. And whether you are listening over on the two YouTube channels or around the world on Ripon Common Sense Radio Network on the RiponRabbitHole.com or from our flagship station in Ripon, Wisconsin, we're glad to have every last one of you guys along for the ride. That's right. And before we dive deep down into the paranormal rabbit hole that is the state of mystery of Montana, we have two more fun little segments to do, the first of which we call on Ripon, Wisconsin. On this day in 1940, the FCC hears the first transmission of FM radio with clear, static-free signal. And, of course, big day in radio history. And that was on this day in 1940. And that is today's segment of... And whether you are over in our YouTube channels or listening worldwide on Ripon, Wisconsin.
Say what?
Our quote of the day today, ladies and gentlemen, comes from fellow radio personality Kev Baker. He says, and I quote,
"Keep your mind open. Keep looking for the woo, but not to the point where your brain turns to black goo."
End quote. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, that was fellow radio personality Kev Baker. And that is today's segment of...
Say what?
And of course, folks, there's a very specific reason that I chose that for the quote of the day today. You see, it's my sad duty to announce that on Monday, January 3rd, 2022, the truther community, as well as the radio community, lost an incredible personality. Unfortunately, Mr. Kev Baker passed away yesterday morning from complications of COPD. He was definitely an incredible inspiration to me, and I'm sure so many others. An amazing radio host, an all-around great guy, down to earth, very much about the truth, very open-minded to all things woo, if you will. He definitely really made a mark in the truther community, and he will be missed, ladies and gentlemen. Kev Baker passed away once again, January 3rd, 2022. And we will try our best to carry on and honor his legacy, as once again, he was a major inspiration to me. And carrying on that legacy, we will tonight as we dig into the paranormal state of mystery of Montana. Let's do it, folks. Coming up first, of course, as always, we have our cryptid creatures, and Montana has its fair share of strange creatures, like its most popular one called Flathead Flossie, or the Flathead Lake Monster.
Whatever the creature is, it and its offspring have been seen enough times, at least 53, for it to merit a name of its own. Flossie seems to fit well in company with other monsters like Nessie and Champ, and a name of its own gives the creature the distinction it deserves. Flossie has been consistently described since the first sighting in 1889.
And right here we have our first very important clue. The case files across all the years have been very consistent. That means that these independent observers are seeing the same thing, in my opinion.
Black-brown in color and 20 to 40 feet in length, although this depends upon how much of the creature is visible at the time of the sighting.
With a lake monster, I can definitely see where that would have a slight variation opposed to how much of the creature's body was up out of the water and how much was left underneath, of course. So that is one part of the case file is actually to be expected with a sea serpent.
Witnesses describe a snake-like head, a body with vertical humps, and a tail tapered like that of an eel.
As we have learned, like the Bigfoot, there are a series of these creatures across the different states of the United States, and even over in Loch Ness, right? As well as in Canada and a number of other places. This same type eel-like creature with many humps along its back. Now again, depends on how coiled up it is in the water, right?
In July 1962, a Polson housewife and some California tourists traversing the wood bridge across the Flathead River stopped midway and jumped out of their cars to get a better view of a black object. It was some 15 feet long, moving upstream through the lake outlet.
Most generally speaking, logs and debris and things of that nature tend to flow downstream with the downflow of the water, right? They don't tend to go against the stream upriver. So that shows that this was powered under some type of power that was not a natural object like a tree or anything of that nature, right?
It undulated in an up and down motion, then quickly gained momentum and moved into the main part of Flathead Lake. A few months later, on September 12, 1962, brothers Ronald and Maynard Nixon had a close encounter with a monster whose photos they had helped fake. They had regarded the sightings as a great joke and helped their mother rig some spectacular trick photos of it for tourists.
Unfortunately, from time to time, and more so than even I would like to admit, we get a few hoaxers who like to just have fun with people or gain recognition or whatever the motive may be. But in this case, it kind of backfires. Kind of a funny story here.
But what the brothers saw 300 feet offshore as they drove along the Polson waterfront made them believers. Ronald Nixon said, "It was moving straight away from the shore and fast enough so that the wave at the front was about 2 feet high. The wake at the back must have been at least 25 feet from the front, so the object must have been longer than that. It couldn't have been a sturgeon. I don't have any idea what it was."
If it was a sturgeon, it would be one of the biggest sturgeons on record.
Several businessmen out for some fishing on a mild December day in 1962 also saw the creature. They were trolling in Big Arm Bay for lake trout when they suddenly saw what looked like a log pop up out of the water. It came from nowhere. They stopped the motor and watched it drift, then started the motor up again to get closer for a better look. As they did so, the thing disappeared as suddenly as it had surfaced, leaving quite a wake. Businessman George Darrow and his wife of Big Fork also saw the creature and long kept quiet for fear of ridicule.
And unfortunately, that still is the case today. There are quite a few case files that do not get reported across the spectrum of paranormal because people just feel like they would be too embarrassed or ridiculed by their peers if they did so. And it's gotten a lot better over the years. Even in my lifetime, I have seen the stigma really tend to fall away as far as people being ridiculed for saying they seen something out of the ordinary, especially with the advent of the internet and the ability for people to share notes more readily. And you have more and more people who are coming out and saying, yeah, I've seen something too, and they don't feel as crazy. And back in the day, that makes a whole lot more sense. Like I said, there used to be a much, much stronger stigma of peer pressure against coming out and admitting to that you had seen some type of paranormal situation, right? But what do you guys think? Do you think the Flathead Monster's a real creature? Go ahead and put a 1 in the chat room if you think so. Like Loch Ness and Ogopogo and Champy and all the other ones we have discussed over time on this show. Or if you think it's a very, very elaborate hoax, go ahead and put a 2 in the chat room, and put a 3 in the chat room if when it comes to sea monsters you're not entirely sure. Maybe could be something there. Not sure. Go ahead and put a 3 in the chat room. And as we step out of the water now and onto land, we have our own Montana version of the Dog Man. That's right. This one is called the Shunka-Werican. Check this case file out.
The Shunka-Werican is an animal mentioned in American folklore that is said to resemble a wolf or a hyena or even both. Hotspot sightings for this creature is in Ennis, Montana, which is around south of Helena. According to cryptozoologist Lauren Coleman, the Shunka-Werican is a creature unknown to modern sources. Its name means carries off dogs.
Now, that is quite a accurately descriptive name, right? Like very specific meaning to the name, carries off dogs. This already sounds like a creature that is not exactly on the nice side, right?
An animal shot in 1886 by Israel Amon Hutchins on what is now the Sun Ranch in Montana has been suggested by Coleman as an example of this mysterious creature. Joseph Sherwood, a taxidermist, acquired it from Hutchins and mounted it and put it on display in his Combination General Store and Museum in Henry's Lake, Idaho.
Now, here once again, we rarely get any evidence or bodies of these cryptid creatures, let alone one that has been taxidermied and set in a country store somewhere in the midst of Idaho, right? Just a really, really strange aspect of this case file, but wait, there's more.
He named it Ringdocus. This stuffed trophy, the only piece of physical evidence, was never examined by qualified scientists and went missing from some time between 1886 and 2007.
Now, that is a wide range of time, right? 1886 to 2007, somewhere in there it disappeared, but we don't really know. No surprise, once again, as time has went on, the government or sources therein have worked very hard to bury truth as best they can. It's what they do best, as a matter of fact, at least in my opinion. But speaking of a wide variety there, let's see what kind of wide variety and spread of numbers we have over here in the chat rooms on the Dark Wolf's Den Show and the Ripon Rabbit Hole. Remember, the question on the table was the Flathead monster. Do you think that it is a real creature? That was a 1 in the chat room. 2 if you think that was an absolute hoax. And go ahead and put a 3 in the chat room if you're just not sure and still on the fence about that. Let's see what you guys had to say over here. Like Jack D. Whiskey, what's up, Jack? Glad to see you, my friend. What say you on this question here? I haven't seen an answer over in the Dark Wolf's Den Show. Glad to see you, Jack. JoJo's with the 1. Absolutely a real creature, without a doubt in her mind. 1s across the board there. Terry Taggart starting it off over in the Ripon Rabbit Hole with a 3. Errol Taylor following up with a 3, as well as Prairie Fire with a 3, unsure and on the fence on the Flathead Lake Monster. Earth Daughter 1 or 3, yeah, probably, I'm not sure. That makes a lot of sense. So 1 or 3 with the Earth Daughter. Mandani Mall 1, generally plus hoaxes. There are always the possibility of hoaxes. But this is a large amount of time that this hoax has been carried on. Remember, it started in the 1800s. Sandy B, 1 or 3 for me, too. So you guys really hanging on the fence over there. Probably, maybe. Raider Champion 1.3. I'll take that also as a probably, maybe. So not quite exactly the turnout of numbers that I expected to see. And of course, now we're discussing the dog-like creature, the Shunka Warakin, of course, a folklore creature. And you guys know how I feel about folklore. That is how the city of Troy was found, by going back through the folk and the myth and using the clues there to find the lost city of Troy. So I believe there's more truth than legend in folklore, and especially when that folklore comes from the Native Americans of the area, right?
Cryptozoologists suggest the Native American folklore can be explained by prehistoric mammals such as the hyanodons, dire wolves, and members of different subfamilies, including the Chasmorphotetus, the only true American hyena.
Now, I had no idea that we had hyenas in America aside from being in a zoo, so chalk that one up to an interesting fact, maybe even a Mandela effect there, right? You guys remember hyenas in America? Not me. But just the same, I don't think people would not be able to recognize a possible hyena, especially considering these creatures laugh, and I haven't heard a laughing hyena in this story yet. As a matter of fact, this thing sounds everything but funny.
Others suggest more mundane explanations. For example, between December 2005 through November of 2006, an unusual-looking wolf killed 36 sheep and injuring 71 more. This was in Macomb and surrounding counties in Montana. It was shot November 2nd, 2006 in Garfield County, Montana, after killing a grand total of 120 sheep. Initially, Montana wildlife officials were unable to identify the 106-pound reddish-yellow animal. Of course, Lauren Coleman suggested it was a Shunk American, but has been since identified by Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks Department as a 4-year-old male wolf with unusually red-colored fur. And it was chopped up to genetic modifications or genetics in general.
Now, how interesting that some place that already is reporting strange werewolf, dogman-like activity and even has a name for said creature, the Fish and Game Wildlife say no, it was just a wolf, albeit a government agency who more likely than not has something to cover up because they can't explain it any other way. That is, of course, my opinion, but it sounds a lot more consistent with what we see in reality most of the time, right? Next up on our list of cryptid creatures in Montana, we have a hairy bear-eating monster. This has got to be a pretty big creature to be eating a bear-eating monster. Check this out. Newspapers in the 1800s were a bit more exciting than the newspapers of today, with stories of elections, wars, and Kardashians. Today's headlines, even those of monsters, and man, are there a lot of monsters in today's headlines, Brandon, can't compare with headlines of monsters of more than 100 years ago, like the story of the Montana Monster. This appeared in New York's Brooklyn Eagle on November 4th. 1892 says an unnamed mountain man apparently saw a large hairy creature with, quote, habit of rising on its haunches and walking on its hind legs after the manner of a gorilla, end quote. The witness claimed this man-like monster killed and ate, quote, several large bears, end quote, and one mountain sheep, after he discovered half-eaten carcasses near what he describes as the headquarters of the beast. Although this was only reported sighting on record of such a monster at the time, the mountains of southern Montana near the Wyoming border would be ripe territory for a Bigfoot. And I can tell you from living in Idaho, I lived way up in the mountains, and I always said I just expected to look out in the parking lot one day and see Sasquatch strolling by. It would have been commonplace for me, right? But there were stories, actually many stories from Sun Valley, Idaho, of quite a few people I knew over there that said that they had either heard or seen evidence of a Bigfoot creature. And if it's anywhere that I expect to see Bigfoot, it is in the northwest section of the country, at least in my opinion. And something else you're going to see in the west, more in the southwest usually, but apparently Montana also, you're going to see Thunderbirds. That's right, we've discussed these before. According to an ancient Indian legend that stretches across North America, it is an enormous bird that's name comes from the beating of its wings that sound like thunder. This thunderbird closely resembles the family of bird called the Teratorn, that existed between the Miocene and Pleistocene periods and had wingspans that stretched to 20 feet in length. These beasts from another age have been seen in Montana, according to Montana cryptozoologist Thomas Markham. A man and his father were driving on Interstate 90 and witnessed what they called, and I quote, the largest bird I have ever seen, bigger than an eagle or turkey vulture, end quote. The anonymous witness claimed that the bird was shaped like a bird of prey and had a wingspan upwards of 15 to 20 feet. It was overhead for about 15 seconds before it flew out of sight. And those are just a couple of the case files of cryptids from Montana, and intriguing creatures there indeed. What is intriguing about places like Montana and other ones over in the West is the Native American reservations. Right there used to be a larger population of the Native Americans, as we know, and the Native Americans have many oral legends and folklores, as we call them, that was basically telling us of stuff that was just too incredible for scientists to, agree with or understand. And they just called it made up fake creatures or a misidentification, right? Not to say that don't happen, but I just don't buy that it happens in every single case. I don't think the Native Americans were making up anything. I think they were explaining to other Native Americans exactly what they have seen. But remember, these same scientists said the gorilla was a cryptid until 1902. But that music means we have to go ahead and take a network break right here, ladies and gentlemen. So my name's Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf, and you're listening to the Dark Wolf's Den radio show exclusively on Ripon Common Sense Radio Network, the Ripon Rabbit Hole. We'll be right back with the second half after these messages. Stick around. Don't touch that dial. That's right.
We gotta stoke the fires and run off the men in black. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
Oh yeah, that howl means your weekend has officially begun. Hi everyone, it's AJ, the Ripon Rabbit. Are you enjoying tonight's Dark Wolf's Den show, The State of Mystery for Mississippi? I know I am. If you are, and you haven't done so already, please make sure to thumb up that video. Hit that subscribe button and ring that bell. You'll get our notifications every time we go live. The holiday continues tomorrow night, Thursday, December 16th, as Spooky Christmas Stories number 2 takes to the airwaves. Jerry Hicks will return again starting at 7 p.m. Pacific tomorrow night, Thursday, December 16th.
I do apologize. That is the wrong audio bite. My apologies, folks. Let's see if we can't pull the right one in here and get this playing correctly. I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. Little technical difficulties here. My sincere apologies. Go ahead and give me just one moment, folks. We'll get this issue here fixed up. AJ, you wanna try that again, bud? You ready? All right, let's try that again.
Oh yeah, that howl means your weekend has begun. Hi everyone, it's AJ, the Ripon Rabbit. Are you enjoying tonight's State of Mystery for Montana with Jerry Hicks on the Dark Wolf's Den radio show? I know I am. If you are and you haven't done so already, please make sure to thumb up that video, hit that subscribe button, and ring that bell. You'll get our notifications every time we go live. Jerry Hicks and the Dark Wolf's Den radio show will return again tomorrow night, Thursday, January 6th. Another State of Mystery for Nebraska. I think that's the Show Me State, right? Or maybe, I'm not sure. Isn't Nebraska the Show Me State? Either way, Jerry's going to show us tomorrow night, Thursday, January 6th. All shows start at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, so be here or be square. Then Friday night, I'll take you deep down the rabbit hole. Friday, January 7th, of the Consumer Electronics No Show. That's right. I'm talking about CES, the world's largest consumer electronics trade show that kicked off earlier today here in Las Vegas, and no one came. We're going to tell you all about it Friday, January 7th. Then Saturday, January 8th. Come along with me as we dive through the rabbit hole of mathematical errors, outrageous mathematical errors, and just exactly what consequences come along with math errors, Saturday, January 8th. Then we'll end out the weekend right together with you with a look at backmasking, one of my favorite subjects. I've got new information to share with you, new clips as we dive through the rabbit hole and listen to things backwards and try to decipher the hidden meaning. It's going to be a great way to end out the weekend together right with you. If you haven't done so already, please hop on over to our website, riponrabbithole.com. That's RIPONRABBITHOLE.com. There you can sign up for your exclusive Backstage Pass. It's going to give you unfiltered access down the rabbit hole to where the conversation continues after the show. Now, if you happen to go over to the Listen Live section and look at our on-air schedule, for some reason, every night from now until the end of 2022 is the Friday Night Live show. I don't understand how that happened, but I can assure you not every day is Friday. We'll return back to tonight's topic, the state of mystery for Montana. Your host, Jerry Hicks, and the Dark Wolf's Den radio show continues. You're listening to the Ripon Common Sense Radio Network, the Ripon Rabbit Hole.
If you were meant to be controlled, you would have come with a remote, but you didn't. And that's why you listen to the Dark Wolf's Den show. Now, here is your host, Jerry Hicks.
That's right, I am Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf, and welcome back to the second half of the Dark Wolf's Den radio show for Wednesday, December the 5th, 2021, that's right. So whether you're on the edge of a reality, the edge of the galaxy, or the edge of your seat, we're glad you chose us to be right there with you. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are discussing, of course, the great state of mystery of Montana. We've made our way quite a ways through the alphabet so far, and we will be finishing up the State of Mystery series, of course, in 2022. Quick programming note before we go any further, ladies and gentlemen. Our Thursday night shows, normally our Freedom Flame series, we are going to be postponing the Freedom Flame series until February. Unfortunately, we've got a whole new revamped system we are going to be going over, and we may even be getting ourselves a very, very special co-host for those episodes, so definitely be looking forward to that coming up in February. So for the month of January, we're going to do some double paranormal. That's right, double up the paranormal, double the pleasure, double the fun, and that's exactly what we're going to do this month. And then next month we're going to once again get back to the Freedom Flame series, as we are coming up on yet another Freedom Flame anniversary, and I cannot wait for that. Keep an eye on the website for more information about upcoming events that we have going on Ripon Common Sense Radio Network and in Ripon, Wisconsin. If you're interested in those type of things, I would definitely urge you to go on over and check those out at riponrabbithole.com. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on into the great paranormal state once again of Montana and discuss the ghosts that lurk within the borders of this weird and wild state. That's right. Of course, you know, every state has a haunted college, and Montana is none the less on the list. However, speaking of less, it has the least amount of haunted colleges of any state we've hit so far. I thought that I wasn't going to have one and had to do a little extra digging to find this. So this is Carroll College in Helena, Montana. Says the oldest building on Carroll College campus is St. Charles Hall. It is one of the most haunted places in Montana. This comes to us from hauntedrooms.com, by the way. The building was named for St. Charles Borromeo and was constructed back in 1909 when the cornerstone was laid by President William Taft. These days, the building primarily serves as a dormitory. Some of the paranormal activity that has been recorded at St. Charles Hall includes one famous incident that occurred in 1964 on the 4th floor. A student was in the men's bathroom when he blacked out and hit his head on the sink. This caused hemorrhaging in his brain, and although he was taken to hospital, he died of pneumonia a couple weeks later. Ever since then, students have experienced strange things on the 4th floor. Many of them report seeing a young man with a visible head injury in the mirror when they are brushing their teeth. Others have said that they turn on the faucet only for blood to come out instead of water. After several years of distressing reports like these from students, the bathroom was locked up and is no longer in use. However, there are still reports of scraping noises coming from behind the locked door. There are also reports of the apparition of the student jumping out of a window to commit suicide. It seems the event is replayed like an echo in time, and it seems once again that we have an interactive mixed with stone tape going on here as we see repetitious events as well as looks like random pop-up events like the mirror, for instance. Others claim that a number of priests have died in various parts of the building and still wander the halls, but the only documented occurrence is related to the young man who died in the bathroom. Still yet, we definitely have a haunted college in Montana. That is about the only thing I could find. I did find one other piece on a haunted Montana college, but I really wasn't able to verify that information. So there you go, Carroll College of Montana, and let's see what else we can find along the lines of Montana hauntings.
The Daly Mansion. The Daly Mansion, located off East Side Highway in Hamilton, Montana, is a historical mansion turned museum that once acted as part of the 22,000-acre Bitterroot stock farm, which was owned by Marcus Daly, one of 3 Copper Kings of Montana. In 1886, Daly purchased the pre-existing Anthony Schaffen homestead, including the farmhouse, and issued both a remodel and extensive renovations, which lasted until 1889 in order to make it suitable as a Daly family summer home. In 1897, the home underwent a second wave of remodels. However, when it was finished, it reminded Marcus of a church, and plans for yet another remodel were placed on the table. Sadly, Marcus would pass on in 1900 before this last remodel was ever even started. Mrs. Daly would continue with her late husband's plans, and by 1910, the home had been completely redesigned.
Talk about not being happy with anything you got, right?
And Mrs. Daly would pass on much later in 1941, after which the prestigious old property was boarded up and left abandoned.
Now, I'm going to be honest with you, I have not listened to this case file ahead of time, so I don't even know what's coming. I'm going to guess that it is a caretaker-style ghost, one that just hangs around and visits, more of a friendly, benevolent type ghost. That is my guess. We'll find out here in a moment.
The old home would remain empty for a time under the ownership of Daly's granddaughter, a Hungarian countess, until 1987, after which it was deeded to the state and opened up to the public. The abode remains a state-owned property and is managed by the Daly Mansion Preservation Trust in partnership with the University of Montana. Surrounded by a whopping 50 acres of land, today the mansion site hosts a wide range of events, tours, private parties, and more. The site continues to undergo renovations, remodels, and modernizations into present times. According to local legend, the Daly Mansion is haunted by the spirits of its former owners and residents, with those setting foot on the property commonly reporting disembodied footsteps, doors opening and closing on their own, voices from empty rooms, strange knocking sounds from the walls, and otherworldly noises in the skies at night. The full-bodied apparitions of both Mr. and Mrs. Daly have been sighted on the property, some claim enjoying their beloved home from beyond, and a number of shadowy figures and additional unidentified entities have been encountered across the mansion's expanse.
So it looks like I was only partially right. Definitely an active haunting, no doubt, and perhaps they are caretaking their places best they see fit, but it still doesn't match the classic persona of the caretaker ghost type that is usually much more calm and just welcoming in general. So this would definitely go more along the lines of a possessed house of the previous owner, who definitely is caretaking, but in a more negative active style, at least in my opinion.
Many visiting daily have recounted smelling cigar smoke from empty rooms or the scent of roses in the middle of the winter when there are none present. Also reported across the premises are lights flickering inexplicably, accounts of personal possessions going missing and turning up later in strange places, and extreme cold spots even on warm days. Lastly, orbs and half-formed silhouettes are commonly discovered later in the backgrounds of photographs taken on the property, and visitors often describe feeling as if they're never truly alone.
And it definitely sounds like that there was a variety of ghosts on this property, no doubt freeloaders, right? They're living there rent-free. It's the only problem with ghosts. They don't tend to pay many bills, right? Well, not the only problem, one of the main problems, right? They live on the property rent-free. But in all seriousness, it sounds like there is a variety of haunting experiences going on there. And a moment ago, I said that I was not able to find another haunted college in Montana, but it looks like I was very much wrong. I found the University of Montana. It says here, at 128 years old, it's no surprise that the University of Montana campus is home to numerous ghosts and chilling tales. The older historic buildings have had many identities over the years, serving as everything from dormitories to office spaces and even academic spaces, like Brantley Hall, built as a girls' dorm in 1922. Brantley Hall now operates as an administrative office building for employees working for the Alumni Association and Communications Department, respectively. I think people will argue that Jeanette Rankin Hall and Main Hall are super haunted, but I think we have the best stories here, said a person in the Brantley building during a tour when this article was written. This one seems to be the most haunted and most cited as the most haunted building on campus, the Brantley building. One of the most common ghosts of Brantley is rumored to be a female student who committed suicide in 1929. But they have been unable to find any record of this event in the school history. They've tried to organize different events on campus, including haunted tours, which were extremely popular, but ended abruptly after, quote, something happened, end quote, in the basement on what would become the last tour ever. Down steps of flights of stairs sits a long, dark hallway that is only illuminated by a red glow of exit signs or a single light bulb triggered by motion sensors. This is where the tours reached their climax. The hallway would be filled with smoke from a smoke machine, and an actor dressed as the Brantley ghost would run toward the group, shrieking, "Get out!" before disappearing into one of the basement rooms. On this particular tour, though, the smoke set off the fire alarm, and they had to escort the families outside while the fire department made its way to the campus. which is really interesting indeed. Trying to find the janitor said that a ghost is always seen entering the building through the hallway where his office is located, and that she announces her presence with a knock on an old radiator. At first, the knock will start slowly, it says, and then it speeds up and grows louder and louder, and then it all goes quiet. That's when she's told you she's here, he said. Let's see what else. Main Hall is also a paranormal hot spot on the campus, with things also occurring in the basement. There are many figures that have been spotted down there, including a man wearing a red flannel shirt, a woman dressed in a Victorian outfit, and another woman wearing frilly lace. A German Shepherd is also rumored to have been seen in the same area. The man in the red flannel is most commonly seen passing through the locked vault in the basement, crossing the hall into the men's restroom, and then disappearing after he walks into a stall. One janitor in that building was cleaning the men's bathroom one evening when a woman in a Victorian outfit walked in. He turned and informed her that this wasn't the women's room before she disappeared into a supply closet. A strange exit that was. Another janitor encountered a different woman dressed in frilly lace who would walk the length of the hallway with her. She could only see her in her peripheral vision, but she was definitely there. The janitor said that the figure made her so mad she would just start yelling down the hallway, "You're not walking with me tonight." Despite her efforts to fend the spirit off, it would still accompany her almost every night. And then there's the tunnels of the campus of the University of Montana. The university's campus encompasses several independent buildings, but the reality is they are all connected through a sprawling tunnel system that transfers steam heat to every corner of the campus. The tunnels have been the university lore for years, and some students in the past have been successful in accessing them, though I don't know why would you want to access a very hot steam tunnel. But since the university increased security to prevent students from wandering around underground, it's largely only maintenance workers down there. Quote, "What we've always heard from the maintenance people is that they'd be walking down there and they'd see the red flannel shirt guy go around the corner," end quote. When the workers would turn the corner to see where he might be hiding, he would disappear without a trace. Another common sighting in these tunnels, once again, is the German Shepherd, and we don't see a lot of animal ghosts, so that is quite rare in this occurrence, but it seems more like a stone tape haunting, right? The same actions and events that just keep happening over and over and over. No real interaction here, just a lot of stone tape in the University of Montana. But what do you think, ladies and gentlemen, about the state of mystery of Montana? Do you think from the cryptids to the insane ghost stories that we have definitely declared Montana a state of mystery, or are we barking up the wrong tree? In the end, ladies and gentlemen, all you can do is listen to the case files, apply a little common sense, and you be the judge. We got to close it out. That's right, that's it for this episode of the Dark Wolf's Den radio show for Wednesday, January the 5th, 2022. So whether you're on the edge of a reality, the edge of the galaxy, or the edge of your seat, we're glad you chose us to be right there with you. Ladies and gentlemen, the inn may be closing, but now that we've kicked the weekend off right, the weekend fun has only just begun. That's right, make sure you come back tomorrow, Thursday, January the 6th, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, as we deal up a dose of double woo. That's right, we're going to be doubling up on the woo all month long. And before we get back to our Freedom Flame series again, starting in February, like I said before, but tomorrow we're going to cover yet another incredible state of mystery in this great United States. We're going to jump over to the state of Nebraska and see what kind of paranormal treasures that's held within those borders. That's tomorrow, Thursday, January the 6th, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. That's right. Then on Friday, January the 7th, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, our buddy AJ the Ripon Rabbit comes back to the airwaves with another episode of the Ripon Rabbit Hole live show. That's right. On Friday, he's going to be talking about CES. You guys know that great big consumer electronics show that happens every year? Well, it just kicked off today, it sounds like, and AJ the Ripon Rabbit's going to bring all the wonderful new things coming to the table in 22 to your radio on Friday, January the 7th, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. That's right. Then on Saturday, January 8th, 2021, once again, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. All shows start at 7 p.m. Pacific here in the network. He'll be talking about mathematical errors. Some errors were so simple that it's amazing they were made. Other errors really help to unsimplify things that could have been much more. And it's amazing the amount of mathematical errors that have crept its way into science, right? AJ will be discussing all that and more on Saturday, January the 8th, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. Then on Saturday, January 9th, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, AJ closes the weekend out once again, rounds it out right with you guys with a discussion about backmasking, a very, very intriguing topic, something that my friend Cynthia Sue Larson and I were discussing not very long ago too. And I've known a variety of people very interested in the backmasking, the idea that subconsciously with the words that we say, if we play it backwards, there are other messages hidden within. It's really an intriguing concept in my opinion. I'm kind of on the fence about it, and I'm definitely going to have to check out AJ's show about it on Sunday, January 9th. 2022, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. And if I've said 2021 so far a couple times, I would not be surprised, right? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, kind of a stick around from 2021 and 2020 and all the way back to the beginning, I guess, is the RiponRabbitHole.com. Make sure you hop on over there, folks. RiponRabbitHole.com. Over there, you're going to find a plethora of fun. You're going to find the Down the Rabbit Hole section, our privatized social media section over there, as well as the on-demand section. If you've missed any show that we've done here on the network, go back and check them all out. It's definitely worth your time, especially if you have extra time on your hands. I know some places around the world, unfortunately, have a lot of that. And as well as over there on the Ripon Rabbit Hole, of course, make sure you stop by the 24/7 Backstage Lounge, my favorite place to hang out, where I'm headed right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of AJ the Ripon Rabbit, Chick Mandela Effect, Michael Musco, Walt House, Tom Bayless, and Red Shed Studios, everybody involved here in Ripon Common Sense Radio Network, we hope you had a very, very happy new year. And we're glad to have you here with us, folks. On behalf of all these people, my name is Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf. And remember, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, let's go, Brandon. No, that ain't right. Oh, stay awake, but dare to dream. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I will see you guys tomorrow night. Bye.
Unlocked and into the dark. Some things are better left unknown. And I'll never find you here, 'cause no one's ever is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. Oh, what a sinner. Is it in her?
Hashtag FJB. Hashtag FJB.
What's the truth in this riddle? Is love really just this simple? I can't seem to find my way in this world that never stays.
Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. That's right. FJB, FYT. Let's go, Brandon, baby.
What a widow, a peaceful spider. When the glass is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. What a sinner.
What a sinner.
Is it in her?
Hard to tell if it's a him or her, isn't it? Poor Brandon. At least he endorses himself, right? Problem is, Brandon lives in a wonderland of delusion.